Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today, we are diving into the mystery, history, and money value of the 1966 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a year known for a strange decision, a year when mint marks mysteriously vanished. Yes, vanished. No mint marks were placed on any 1-cent coins from the year 1965 through 1967. The reason? The U.S. Mint was struggling with what they called a coin shortage crisis, and the public was hoarding special varieties, silver coins, and mint-marked releases. To calm the panic and discourage collecting, the mint removed the identifying marks of where coins were produced. It was one of the most unusual decisions ever made in U.S. coinage history. This strange historical moment instantly makes the 1966 penny unusual before we even talk about value. With no mint marks to indicate whether a coin came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, the 1966 penny is already a standout piece of numismatic history. But the real story takes us deeper, into the details of condition, composition, detecting errors, spotting rare varieties, and understanding why some collectors today are willing to pay premium prices for an ordinary-looking cent from 1966. Let's start with the basics. Most 1966 Lincoln cents were struck in huge numbers, over 2.1 billion pieces. On the surface, this makes them seem far too common to be valuable. And for the most part, circulated and heavily worn pennies from this year are still worth only face value. But the story changes dramatically when we examine high-grade examples, coins preserved in mint state condition, untouched by decades of wear, pressure, dirt, and corrosion. A typical 1966 penny in average circulated condition may look reddish-brown or dark brown, with scratches, nicks, and dull surfaces. But a perfectly preserved one, the kind that sparkle with original copper brightness, can command strong interest from collectors, especially those pursuing registry-level quality coins. These rare top-graded specimens are the ones that can reach impressive price levels. Now imagine a 1966 Lincoln penny with perfectly sharp details, the smooth, crisp contours of Abraham Lincoln's portrait, the precise lettering of "In God We Trust," the clean strike of the date, and the almost glass-like shine of original mint luster. This is the kind of penny that gets sent to grading services like PCGS or NGC. And this is the kind of penny that brings big auction prices. But the story doesn't end there. Beyond condition, the 1966 penny also has hidden secrets. Some coins from this year show die cracks, raised lines caused by worn dies. Others display doubled elements on the lettering or Lincoln's profile, a sign of die deterioration or slight doubling. While not all doubling is considered valuable, certain strong doubled features can raise a coin's desirability among collectors who enjoy studying varieties. Then there are the struck-through errors, coins struck while a piece of debris, grease, or a foreign object was trapped between the die and the planchet. These mistakes are incredibly unique, because no two struck-through errors look exactly alike. Some 1966 pennies show smooth blank areas where details should be, while others display strange textures, partial missing letters, or odd impressions, and we can't forget off-center strikes. Imagine a penny where part of Lincoln's portrait is missing and the blank copper shows through on one side. These misaligned strikes can be worth far more than ordinary examples, especially if the date is still visible. Off-center coins from 1966 with strong, clear dates are especially sought after because they are both scarce and visually appealing to collectors. But perhaps the most attractive and mysterious 1966 pennies are the ones that still retain full original red luster. Copper changes color over time, turning brown as oxygen interacts with the metal. Finding a 1966 penny that has survived more than 5.5 decades with bright red surfaces is extremely rare. These coins, graded as MS Red, are the ones that fetch premium prices. To understand the appeal, imagine looking at a copper coin from 1966 that looks as though it just left the mint yesterday. No fingerprints. No oxidation. A glowing, fiery red tone that lights up under any beam of light. Collectors are drawn instantly to this kind of brilliance. It almost feels like holding a time capsule in your hand, a piece of history frozen in its original state. Now let's turn our attention to why collectors find the 1966 penny so compelling beyond the physical attributes. This coin represents a moment when the United States was experiencing rapid changes. The government was adjusting monetary policies. Silver coins were disappearing from circulation. Mint marks were removed. And the public was paying unusually close attention to the coins in their pockets. That cultural context gives the 1966 penny a special place in history. Despite its massive mintage, its story is rich, and that story adds to its collectability. So how much can a 1966 penny actually be worth today? The answer depends entirely on condition and rarity of specific features. Circulated examples may be worth a few cents to collectors starting their journey. But high-grade examples, those preserved with exceptional shine, sharpness, and minimal marks, can sell for impressive sums. Auction records have shown that top-quality, professionally graded 1966 pennies can reach into the tens, hundreds, and even thousands of dollars depending on the market excitement and rarity of the grade. But here's where your interest becomes especially important. Many people owning old coins don't realize that the value lies not just in the existence of the coin, but in its condition. A penny sitting in a coffee can might be worth only face value, but a bright, carefully preserved penny could be worth far more. Collectors love coins that stand out from the crowd. Coins that avoided damage, avoided circulation, avoided tarnish, and retained their original glow. And because most 1966 pennies were heavily circulated, finding one in top condition today becomes more and more difficult each year. That scarcity drives value upward, giving the coin a surprising and exciting potential in the market. As we near the end of today's exploration, hold on to this idea: every coin tells a story. And sometimes, the most ordinary-looking coins have extraordinary histories behind them. The 1966 Lincoln penny may seem simple, but it represents a country grappling with change, a mint facing pressure, and a numismatic world buzzing with mystery and speculation. We're diving deep into one specific year, one specific mint, and one specific little copper-colored coin that millions of Americans have handled without knowing its potential worth. This is the story of the 1978 Lincoln penny, a seemingly ordinary coin struck at the Denver Mint. A coin that millions of people have jingled in their pockets, dropped in their cars, lost in upholstery, or tossed into coin jars without a second glance. But as we explore its background, its minting characteristics, its possible errors, and the rare conditions that can elevate it beyond ordinary pocket change, you may find yourself rushing to check your own stash of pennies. Let's begin with the big picture. The year 1978 was a unique moment in American history, an era of shifting politics, evolving culture, technological innovation, and changing economic landscapes. The country was nearing the end of a decade known for turbulence, inflation, and major shifts in manufacturing and consumer habits. While the United States Mint produced billions of coins to meet demand, it also faced challenges in precision, quality control, and metal costs. Pennies in this period were still made primarily of copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc, and the cost of producing these coins hovered near the value of the metal itself. That alone makes the 1978 penny historically significant, marking the final years before major material changes in the coinage system would begin appearing in the early 1980s. But beyond economic factors, the 1978 penny carries the legacy of one of the most iconic American coin designs, the Lincoln cent. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, the coin was revolutionary at the time. It was the first U.S. circulating coin to feature the likeness of a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the portrait of Lincoln has endured for over a century, making it the longest-running design in U.S. coinage history. In 1978, the penny retained the classic Brenner portrait on the obverse, Lincoln facing right, with the familiar motto, "In God We Trust," arching above his head, liberty, placed to the left, and the date, 1978, to the right. Below the date sits a small but powerful identifying mark, the letter D, indicating the coin was minted at the Denver Mint. It's this mint mark, so tiny that casual observers barely notice it, that distinguishes the 1978 penny from those struck in Philadelphia or San Francisco. The reverse of the coin during that era featured the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. The design displays the symmetrical architecture of the monument, complete with the barely visible statue of Lincoln seated inside if viewed under magnification. The inscriptions United States of America and E pluribus unum appear above, while 1 cent sits boldly below. For collectors, these design details matter, because sharp, crisp features often indicate better condition and higher value. Now, the big question, the question that draws people into numismatics in the first place: can a 1978 D penny be worth money? The short answer, yes, absolutely. But the long answer requires exploring condition, rarity, varieties, and errors. Let's start with condition. The value of a 1978 D penny can increase dramatically depending on its grade. Circulated pennies, those with scratches, wear, dull surfaces, and discoloration, are usually worth face value. They're plentiful and easy to find. But uncirculated examples, especially those with stunning luster, strong strike details, and minimal imperfections, can command higher prices. When a coin is submitted to a professional grading company such as PCGS or NGC, it is assigned a grade on the Sheldon scale, ranging from 1 to 70. Coins graded between MS 65 and MS 67 are considered high-quality uncirculated specimens, and examples graded MS 68 or better are extremely rare for this year. The difference between MS 65 and MS 67 is subtle to the average collector but enormously important in determining value. Sharp edges, clean fields, strong luster, and perfect surfaces can push a coin into premium territory, but condition is not the only factor. The second category that excites collectors is varieties and errors. While the 1978 D penny does not have as many famous varieties as certain other years, error coins from this period do exist and can be incredibly valuable. Examples include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, filled mint marks, and misaligned dies. Even minor errors can be worth multiple times face value. One of the most sought-after error types is the double die, where a coin shows doubling on the date, letters, or details of the design. Collectors often examine the date, 1978, the mint mark D, and the inscriptions for signs of doubling under magnification. Another valuable error involves off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin was not aligned properly when struck. Coins with dramatic off-center strikes, especially those where both the date and mint mark are still visible, can sell for impressive amounts. Another interesting error includes the clipped planchet, where a portion of the coin appears cut off due to miscut metal blanks. These errors can fetch higher prices depending on the size and shape of the clip. While these rare errors and high-grade examples may bring surprising value, the most impressive auction records for the 1978 D penny involve coins graded at the highest mint state levels. These exceptionally well-preserved pennies, with flawless surfaces and sharp details, have sold for significant amounts in the collector market. They represent a tiny fraction of the billions produced, making them incredibly sought after by advanced collectors who specialize in high-grade modern coins. Picture a collector standing at an auction as the bidding begins. A shiny copper penny, something most people wouldn't bend down to pick up, sits inside a transparent plastic slab, certified, graded, and ready to change hands. The auctioneer calls out the opening bid. The room is quiet. Then a hand raises. Then another. The numbers rise rapidly as collectors recognize just how rare it is to find a coin of such pristine quality from a year where most pennies went straight into circulation. The bidding intensifies, palms sweat, adrenaline surges, and the price climbs higher until that final, dramatic moment when the hammer falls. Collectors cherish the 1978 D penny not only for its potential value but also for its nostalgia. It represents a piece of American life, an everyday object that carries memories of the late 70s. Think back to that year: gas stations with long lines, families listening to vinyl records, kids running into arcades, and coin-operated machines everywhere. Pennies passed through millions of hands, bought gum, fed parking meters, and clinked inside piggy banks across the country. Finding a high-grade survivor today feels like discovering a time capsule. The beauty of collecting coins is that anyone can start. You might already own valuable coins without knowing it. The 1978 D penny teaches us to look more closely, to appreciate the artistry and history in something so small. Sometimes treasure hides in plain sight. We're diving deep into one of the most commonly overlooked coins in modern American pocket change, the 2001 Lincoln 1-cent coin. This is a penny you've probably spent without a second thought, tossed into a cup holder, or swept into a coin jar. But as we're about to uncover, some specific examples can be worth far more than their face value, especially if you find rare features or high-grade conditions that collectors passionately search for. The 2001 penny belongs to the long-running Lincoln Memorial Cent series, first introduced in 1959 to honor the 150th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. The D mint mark indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, which is known for turning out massive numbers of coins each year. In 2001 alone, the Denver Mint produced more than 5 billion Lincoln cents, yes, billions with a B. That huge mintage means that most 2001 pennies are extremely common and still circulate widely today. But the real interest among collectors comes not from sheer quantity, but from the hidden gems, coins that stand out because of condition, errors, striking anomalies, and overall rarity within specific grades. Many people don't realize the difference that condition makes in the world of coin collecting. Most of the 2001 pennies you find in everyday circulation have been through years of wear. They've been passed from hand to hand, scraped against vending machines, dropped on sidewalks, and rubbed inside wallets and pockets. These coins show loss of detail. Lincoln's hair looks flat, the lettering softens, the steps of the Lincoln Memorial blur, and scratches and discoloration appear across the surface. These circulated coins, although interesting to examine, usually hold no premium above face value, but collectors hunt for something far more special: coins graded in extremely high mint state condition. These are coins that have never circulated, usually found in original mint sets or discovered untouched in rolls. When a coin is graded mint state 65, 66, 67, or even higher, it becomes dramatically more valuable because only a tiny fraction of the total minting run survives without damage. A perfect-looking coin from such a huge production year becomes rare simply through survival, but beyond condition, what really makes the 2001 penny fascinating is its assortment of unusual striking errors. While the Denver Mint is known for precision and consistency, it is not immune to mechanical anomalies. When billions of coins are produced, a few slip through with mistakes that collectors love. These include off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, broad strikes where the rim expands, die cracks that leave raised marks, cuts where sections of the design vanish due to broken dies, and double dies where letters and details appear with duplication. One of the most appealing potential errors for this year is die deterioration doubling. Although not a true double die, this effect creates a dramatic look on some 2001 pennies, especially around the date, the mint mark, and the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Many new collectors confuse this with a valuable double die variety, but specialists can tell the difference by the stretched, shelf-like appearance of the doubling. True double dies are much sharper and more pronounced, but even deterioration doubling coins are fun to find and collectible for educational purposes. Another intriguing error from this year is the misaligned die strike, where the front of the coin is shifted slightly while the back remains centered. This creates a noticeable off-balance frame around Lincoln's silhouette. Small misalignments aren't valuable, but major ones, where the shift is dramatic, can be worth a premium. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin is struck significantly away from the center, leaving blank space. The degree of off-centering matters. Collectors prefer examples where the date is still visible, because without the date, the coin becomes less desirable. And let's not forget broad strikes. These happen when the retaining collar fails, allowing metal to spread outward as the coin is struck. The result is a wider, flatter penny with distorted rims but full internal details. These pieces can command good prices depending on how dramatic the effect is. Although not every 2001 penny will be a rare treasure, the key is recognizing that modern coins can still have hidden value. Many collectors overlook anything minted after the 1980s, assuming newer coins aren't worth collecting. But modern numismatics is a growing field. Younger collectors, budget collectors, and error specialists all understand that scarcity within specific categories, not age alone, determines collectability. the material composition of this coin also adds another layer of interest. By 2001, pennies were no longer made primarily of copper. Since 1982, the U.S. Mint has produced Lincoln cents from a zinc core coated with a thin copper layer. This change was made because copper prices rose sharply, making it too expensive for the mint to continue producing solid copper coins. The copper-plated zinc composition creates its own challenges. Zinc corrodes more easily, and bubbles can form beneath the copper coating. These plating blisters often appear as raised bumps on the coin's surface. While plating blisters are not considered valuable errors, they tell the story of how modern minting technology differs from previous eras. If you're searching for potentially valuable 2001 D pennies, you should start by carefully examining uncirculated rolls or checking mint sets from that year. Mint sets often contain higher quality coins because they are handled with greater care before sealing. If you find a penny with strong luster, no scratches, sharp details in Lincoln's hair and beard, clean letter edges, and crisp lines on the Lincoln Memorial, it may be worth submitting to a professional grading service. Grading can turn a good coin into a documented, certified piece, something that collectors are willing to pay significantly more for. Lighting is key when inspecting your coins. Use a bright, angled light source to catch any doubling, cracks, or surface anomalies. A simple magnifying glass works, but a jeweler's loupe of 10x magnification is even better. Rotating the coin slowly under the light can reveal details you might otherwise miss. Storage also matters. If you hope to keep your coins in high condition, store them in non-PVC coin flips or protective capsules. Avoid touching them with bare fingers, since oils and acids on your skin can discolor the surface over time. The better preserved your coin is, the more desirable it becomes. The 2001 D penny may not be ancient, but it represents a moment in American minting history. It's a snapshot of early 2000s coin production, economic changes, and the evolution of modern collectible errors. And even though billions were produced, the rare gems, whether error-based or condition-based, continue to attract attention from collectors who know how to look closely. This creates a sense of adventure even in the most ordinary pocket change. You never know what you might find hiding in plain sight. For many collectors, the thrill lies not only in the potential value, but in the discovery process itself. Every coin tells a story, and every small detail can turn an everyday penny into a sought-after piece of numismatic history. Searching through these coins can be a relaxing hobby, an educational journey, and occasionally a surprising source of extra income. Today's story revolves around a tiny piece of metal most people overlook every single day: the United States Mint 2013 D Mint Mark 1 cent Lincoln penny. It's the kind of coin you might find buried at the bottom of a pocket, lost between couch cushions, or scattered at the bottom of a drawer. On the surface, it looks ordinary, just another copper-plated zinc cent. But what if that simple penny could be worth more than you think? What if there is a version of this coin that collectors chase, admire, and pay surprisingly good money for? This video dives deep into that mystery. We're going to explore why the 2013 D penny exists, how many were minted, the special characteristics that separate common examples from valuable ones, and how collectors decide what a certain penny is truly worth. The journey will cover minting quirks, errors, condition grading, and the strange world of coin collecting economics. Most importantly, we'll reveal the value point that some rare and high-quality versions of this penny have reached, an amount that might surprise anyone holding one. As the camera continues to spin the glowing penny, the narrator explains that the 2013 D penny was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the United States Mint's primary production facilities known for generating massive quantities of circulating coins. In 2013 alone, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of these pennies, making them extremely common in circulation. But as any experienced collector knows, even in a sea of common coins, there are always exceptions, treasures hiding in plain sight. Before we get into those exceptions, let's set the stage by understanding the coin itself. The obverse shows Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design first introduced in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday. Over a century later, that same design remains iconic. Across the top of the coin sits the phrase, "In God We Trust," on the left, Liberty, and on the right the year, 2013. Below the date rests the tiny but important letter D, telling collectors and historians where the coin was born. Turn the coin over and you see the shield design introduced in 2010, replacing the previous Lincoln Memorial reverse. This Union shield symbolizes national unity and strength, holding a scroll with the inscription, 1 cent, across it. Above the shield arches the bold phrase, United States of America, and beneath it is the mint designer's subtle initials. It's a modern design, crisp and detailed, created to stand out even on a tiny 1-cent piece. Even though billions of pennies share this exact design, collectors pay close attention to tiny variations, minute differences that can transform a worthless coin into something exciting. These subtle differences come from the minting process itself. When a coin press strikes millions of blanks every hour, slight shifts can occur. Dies crack, press alignment can change, metal flow can distort features, and unexpected marks or doubling can appear. While these imperfections may look like flaws, to a collector they might represent rarity and value. This brings us to the fascinating world of mint errors. A mint error occurs when something goes wrong during the striking process. Some errors are minor, barely visible scratches or tiny die chips. But others are dramatic, doubled dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks large enough to trace across Lincoln's portrait. When these errors appear on a modern coin like the 2013 D penny, they instantly set that coin apart from the rest. Collectors love error coins because they are one of a kind. No two mistakes are exactly the same. Some show extra metal protruding from Lincoln's eye or the shield stripes. Others show doubling on the date or letters, creating a ghost-like second image. Some coins are struck off-center, leaving part of the design missing entirely. These dramatic visual differences can transform a penny worth a single cent into something far more desirable, but error coins aren't the only potential source of value. Condition matters just as much, sometimes even more. The world of coin grading assigns numbers to coins to represent their level of preservation, with mint state grades starting at MS60 and climbing all the way to MS70. A perfect MS70 coin is extremely rare, especially for modern circulating coins. Even MS68 or MS69 examples can fetch premium prices because they show almost no handling or wear. Any small scratch, fingerprint, or mark can drop the grade dramatically. This is where the story of the 2013 D penny becomes especially interesting. While hundreds of millions of these coins were minted, only a very small number survive in truly exceptional condition. When a coin goes straight from the mint to a collector's hands before entering circulation, it avoids damage. But most coins are tossed into drawers, jars, registers, pockets, and purses. They get scratched, dented, and discolored. That means high-grade examples are far rarer than the raw mintage numbers suggest. Collectors will sometimes send their best penny candidates to professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC. These companies examine the coin under magnification, checking the luster, strike quality, surfaces, and any signs of wear. If the coin receives an unusually high grade, it immediately becomes valuable, even if it has no major errors. And when a coin has both high grade and a notable mint error, its value can multiply even further. That brings us to stories of collectors who have found stunning examples of the 2013 D penny in rolls from banks, in old change jars, or purchased unsearched from bulk coin sellers. These finds often look ordinary until viewed under a bright light. Then suddenly, a collector notices doubling on the letters, unusual die cracks, or perfect unmarked surfaces. A coin discovered in a bag that cost only a penny may surprise its owner with a much higher potential value. The narrator's voice shifts tone, preparing to reveal what people really want to know: how much a rare or high-grade 2013 D penny can actually sell for. While most 2013 D pennies are worth only face value, certain exceptional examples, especially those with certified mint state grades or strong visible errors, have been known to sell for impressive amounts. Before the number is revealed, the narrator emphasizes that value in the coin collecting world depends on demand, rarity, eye appeal, and certification. A coin must stand out, either by being almost perfectly preserved or by displaying a visually striking error. Once those features are present, collectors compete for it. Online auctions and numismatic marketplaces often see bidding wars over coins that appear ordinary at a glance but extraordinary upon close inspection. The camera zooms back in on the spinning penny. Soft suspenseful music rises, setting the mood. The narrator begins describing a particular example, a 2013 D penny with nearly flawless surfaces and exceptionally strong strike quality. No scratches, no wear, bright luster, and crisp details. This coin was placed under close examination and professionally graded. Surprising collectors and experts alike, it reached a noteworthy value due to its high condition and appealing appearance, and now, arriving at the moment viewers have been waiting for, the narrator states clearly and confidently the amount that rare and desirable versions of the 2013 D 1-cent Lincoln penny have reached. The coin stands as a reminder that even tiny objects we overlook every day can carry unexpected worth.